Alrighty, it's about time. What's up, everybody? I hope you had a good Taco Tuesday. Wait, what's going on here? Hold on, something's wrong with the camera. One sec. What's it doing? There it goes. I had to give it the old kinetic realignment. That's where you bop it until it starts working. All right. So I wanted to spend tonight digging into a little bit more HackBot code because Tuesday night, normally we do the news stream, right? However, believe it or not, there's not a ton of news going on now. I mean, there is, but what I decided to do is we're going to hit the news hard next week. Wait, dang it. Yeah, I just realized I can't hit the news next week. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be actually up in Seattle. So, anyway, we're skipping the news tonight. We're going to work on HackBot a little bit more because getting some good progress. Actually, I had some ideas on how to kind of structure these specialty agents. So I want to take a look at this real quick. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. Is that here in specialty agents, in this init folder, or in this the initialization Python script in here, what I'm thinking about doing is basically we'll have this kind of, as it comes through specialty agents, loop over all of these and find what the exports are for these. So we'll have them export a particular structure, something, and as it comes through and it imports them, basically that's going to be the entry point to all the subgraphs. And then this right here, this init.py, is going to kind of maintain an array of all of those objects. So that way we can bring it over. Each of the different agents can then route to those specialty agents, right? I'm thinking that's the way I kind of want to structure it. I was working with a coworker earlier today. He's trying to learn LangChain. He's got a great background in AI and machine learning, but he's not very familiar with LangChain or LangGraph. So he and I were discussing it. He's trying to do something along these lines, but he's not using a custom state like we are with Stinger state. He's using a standard state, which usually just has like the messages and stuff in it. So instead, as I was sitting there trying to work through them and think about it, I was thinking about how I wanted to kind of restructure this a little bit. Because eventually, like I said, the main idea is over here in specialty agents, I'd like it for people to be able to basically just CD over here, do a git pull, git clone of whatever their agent is, drop it into this folder essentially, and then boom, they now have a copy of it. They can just be auto hop plug and play. I think that'd be kind of neat to do. However, I gotta sit here and figure out how to do this. So, but let's keep working on the browser agent. Let's see if we can get this guy kind of up and running. Let me look at something. Oh, I had an await in here, I think, somewhere. Yeah, I remember what happened now. So what we were checking is, I wanted to make this browser, this working copy work again just for grins and giggles, because one of the things that's happening here is we need this part right here to actually stay working, because this was not part of the original design. We started the Docker container by itself. That's what this came from. But we do need to have it a tiny bit more dynamic. So the problem is we're starting the container, but then the container is basically, it's booting up, but it does that. It's still booting up whenever this section of code executes. So it can't hit the MCP client in here. So what we need to do is we need to have some kind of a pause in between here. Let me look at something for this Docker containers. I'm pretty sure there's a way to like check the state of the container when it's running. It would surprise me if there wasn't. Let's see here. What options do we have for this container run? Let's see, users, UTS, volume. Well, actually, you know what? There's something we might be able to do. We might be able to kind of flub this just a wee bit. Because notice how whenever we start that container for Playwright, we actually get this back out. So we do get some output. Oh, let me run this real quick. Because what I want to do is, I believe we can actually capture the standard out from this container And what we could do is basically have it wait till we see like this message. Yeah, I think we could do that. Kill this. Where are we at? So this guy runs. I don't know if we actually need to capture the standard out from this, or if we can just basically use that container object. Let's take a look. We come to container dot. What do we have in here? What methods do we have? We have commit. Don't want to do that. Don't see a standard out in here. There is an option for this to actually go check what the standard out is. Because I remember seeing it in here. Where is it? So there's a standard in open, and I believe there's also a standard. I thought there was a standard out in here. Read only. Let's go find it real fast. Let's go check the docs real quick. That would actually make this functional. I have no idea where my browser went. Done disappeared on me. Ah, there it is. Let's see here. Let's see. Python Docker SDK. Let's go pull that up real fast. Let's see. Return logs from standard out when detach equals false. Default is true. Are we running this in detached? I thought we were. Yeah, so we're running this in detached. So how do we use this standard out, though? That's what I'm curious about. Let's see. The container logs either standard out or standard error, or both, depending on the value of the standard out, standard error arguments. So they may only be may read only if either JSON file or journal-D logging driver is used. Which I'm pretty sure we're using. I think the journal-D driver. Let's see. We got go. So this says return the logs from standard out when detach equals false. So it defaults to true. Okay. So let's do a little bit of a test here. Let's just run a Python terminal test. Go to Python console here. Let's import Docker real quick, and then I'm going to run this. Copy that. We'll paste it in here. So this should run a copy of our Docker container. Oh, dang it, I forgot. We are missing a very important command, which is our Docker socket. Let's go away. Except, for some reason, it was Docker socket. Oh my god, what are you doing? Stop trying to be helpful. There we go. Docker socket, and then now we can run this. Really? Just submit the command. Container name dot defined. Dang it! Here I am trying to be slick, and it's just biting me in the butt. Please import. I'm missing. There. We import that. Will that make you happy? It doesn't like the type definitions here that this is a string. Fine. Get rid of that. Oh, no, I take that back. It doesn't like because we have string digits here. All right, fine. It's so picky. Hey, Enderman, what's up, dude? So we're working on a AI hacking bot to play capture the flag games. So stuff like Hack the Box or Try Hack Me. And right now, what we're doing is we're working on an exploitation agent. Its job is to figure out, after we do a reconnaissance and enumeration, go through and figure out how to hack the thing. Hey, Enderman, thanks for coming online. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Normally, this would be our news stream for the week. However, in cybersecurity, this is Black Hat and DEF CON week. So everybody is out there. The news flood is going to start probably tomorrow. Because what happens is on basically Saturday kicks off everything, but it's training time. That's training at Black Hat, and it goes through Tuesday, which is today. Tomorrow is when Black Hat kicks off. It goes Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is DEF CON. So all the news articles are really going to start dropping tomorrow. So tonight, decided we're just going to take the week off. We're going to have a little bit of fun and work on HackBot a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now we got the containers defined. Now we can actually boot the container. All right, let's double check that real quick. So. Interesting. Hold on. This is weird. It says it ran the container. It didn't do it. Yeah, no worries, Enderman. Dude, I just like to come in and have fun and chat with folks. And so this is a fun project for me. I actually really suck at coding and developing. This is a project that I thought would be fun to cover a couple different bases, helping me become a better developer from scratch. I've been in offensive security for 7 years, and I've been in IT for 15 years. Done a lot of scripting, tinkering, modifying code, changing it up. But writing something from scratch, like a big code base, I've not really done. So I thought that would be a fun endeavor to do. Plus, in my day job where I'm a penetration tester, I find a lot of my clients are going to start implementing, and they have, a lot of these AI type large language model systems. Sure enough, they have. And the stuff I've been learning from doing this has been paying off big time. So much so, my boss asked me to put together a presentation for the whole company to try and level set everybody's knowledge base around it. So I'm like, yay! That's what I've been working on in my off-stream time. And man, it feels like I'm like, wow, I don't even feel like I know that much. So maybe it's imposter syndrome. Maybe it's Maybelline. All right, let me check something here. What methods do we have on this object? Let me see. Create get list. Where is it? What's our ID from this? Let's see. There's our container ID. Oh, wait. Maybe I'm using this all wrong, and that's where the issue is coming in. Because when I'm running the Docker PS command, right, we only see robo pages running. The playwright container is actually not running. So maybe this is a fundamental flaw in my understanding of the workflow. Let's see. Oh, I think I see the problem here. I think the problem is actually where we're getting the Docker socket from. No, this actually should work. From ENV, this has worked in the past when we were testing other stuff. Let's see if this has the history magic command. It does not. Let me try this again. So let's back this up just a wee bit here. So I need to figure out why this Docker socket part is not functioning. So you know what we're going to do? Maybe it's because we didn't load the environment. All right, so we're going to do this a little bit hand-handed, but it'll work. So these are our helpers for defining the container names, and then we need this part right here. Okay, so now we've got our container. It still didn't start though, so let's look at the container down here. Kind of move this up so y'all can see it because it's behind my big head. Let's see, so container. What do we have here? Ports label, image. What does our container client give us? Let's see, check server's responsiveness if we want to ping it. I thought that this would already be running though. So yeah, for some reason it's trying to use the local one here. Go back. I'm not trying to click on this. So it looks like it's trying to connect actually to a Docker from local here. So we don't want that actually. Let's see. Ah, here we go. So that's if we wanted to get it from our ENV. Instead, what we need to do is, there we go. We need to specify, that's where it's been messing up. So from ENV, I thought it was working. For some reason, it's not. But anyway, it's expecting these environment variables. That's not what we've got. What we have is we just have a locally exposed Docker socket. So this is actually what we want to use, I believe. What we want to do is Docker socket. It's going to equal this Docker client here. And now if we run this, let's see. Why is it still saying it doesn't want to run? We try rebuilding it like this. Let's see what happens. Now if we run container start. That should be the right one though. Var run docker sock. Yeah. I wonder why it is throwing such a fit of this. And the reason why you might be wondering, hey, why am I doing it this way instead of just start the Docker container automatically? Because eventually the program will manage its own Docker containers. It'll be in here, it'll be starting up robo pages, it'll be starting up the containers for, like, in this case, the browser is its own container, so we have to start that up. So it's an issue we're going to have to face sooner or later. I'm deciding, let's just face it now rather than later. Let's get this part right here. And then what we'll do is grab this. So all this is doing is pointing it over to there. Jeez, stop being so helpful. There we go. This is our Docker client. We set the base URL. Now that we've got that set, do we need to tell it to connect? Are we good? We shouldn't have to log in or anything. Just get rid of that. We don't need it. All right, let's grab these lines here. Let's throw them down. All All right, so I see the container. It's right there. So odd. Yeah, definitely no one running it. This is so weird because this was working with this exact setup here where we did like Docker from env, because we had a whole bunch of these containers just hanging out in here. Actually, you know what? Let me check something real quick. Let's do it down here. Let's do Docker container ls. Yeah, so it's not like it's spawning the container and then just not starting it. It's just like completely doing nothing for some reason. Okay. Why you do this to me? It makes no sense though. Bring this up. So this is our container object right here. So we got the Docker socket from here. What does our Docker socket consist of? It consists of a Docker client. Okay. Let's look at that real quick. Docker socket. Let's see. What methods do we have here? Network images. We got containers. We got our configs. Yeah, this is weird. So for our adapters, it keeps saying it's using HTTP Unix, which is not correct at all. Gee, maybe that should be correct in there. What's the error we're getting back from this? This we're getting back up 404. Let's see here. Our base URL, yeah. Actually, that's not correct. Hold on. Our base URL shouldn't be there. I'm not sure, Ender, because I could have sworn this portion was working. That's why I saved this copy as what I call the working copy. Because it was functional, it just was not what we needed, right? What we needed was something a little bit more explicit. Let's see. So Docker containers run. Let's see. Run a container by default, it will wait for the command to finish to return its logs, similar to Docker run. So if detach is true, it's going to wait for it's going to start the container and immediately return a container object. So maybe that's part of the issue. We don't want to run it in a detached mode. So let's try this. Where are we at? Trying to get back through the history here. What if we take this out? Let's not detach it. We'll just connect directly to the container. Oh my god, stop being so helpful. Kill that. Send it. Alright, it had a delay now. So I'm wondering if it actually is up and running. Okay, let me try one more thing. Notice how we've got the auto remove in here? Let me take that out. And then I want to, because this will actually tell us if it actually is running and if there's another issue happening, right? Okay, we've got this up. This part is good. So now, if we come back to containers, there we go. So something's happening whenever it's running the... I see what's happening. So something's happening when it spawns the container, right? Because this is the one it didn't auto-remove. And when that happens, it's automatically killing the container. You know what? I think this is probably it. We're missing all of our options here, telling it what to run as. That's probably the issue. I completely spaced on that. Let's see. There should be a place to specify like args in here. Command line args. Jason, what's up, man? Command? I gotta remember which one we're doing here. Let's see. That's our client. Let's see. So the command to run the container. Okay, a lot of help you are there. Oh, to run in the container. Got it. That is actually what we want. Perfect. So we want to set the command stringer list. Okay, we'll just do a string here. There we go. I think that's what we want right there. Oh, thanks, dude. Although I don't know what that last message you just sent is. Looks like Instagram, but I don't think that's it, 'cause I don't post on Instagram. Let's see. Alright, hopefully this will actually fix it. Now that I realize I spaced and I did not incorporate all of the command line arguments that we're supposed to be running. Wait, why are you now giving me this issue? Wait, I wanted to take out detach true anyway. Dang it. Stop being helpful. Okay. Oh, dang it. It's giving a different error because that container already exists. Let's go kill that real quick. Let's go down to Docker, container, RM, and then browser. There we go. I'm grinding hard in your cybersecurity community. I wish one day to be like you. Dude, man, all I do is I get paid to hack around and find out. That's it. I go in and I have a lot of fun doing it. Some days are not fun. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people misconstrue that about cybersecurity, or like at least in red teaming, right? There's a little bit of a veneer of those red team guys have all the fun, you know. It's kind of the old football saying, offense gets the glory, but defense wins the game, which is true, right? But offense is working hard too. Don't get me wrong. We're over here. There's all sorts of new stuff to keep track of. It's got its own challenges. The real key is just finding out which challenges fit with your skill set, right? I don't mind the constant updating of knowledge. It gets a little tiresome sometimes. It's like, dang it, I just learned how to do that, and now there's a new way to exploit it, and I got to go figure that out. Don't get me wrong, it does happen. But overall, I like it. I enjoy it. Try Hack Me's giving you a headache. Which part are you working on right now? I wish I had Try Hack Me back in the day. It would have been a lot of fun. Instead, I had to take the old school OSCP, where there literally was just like, try harder. Every time I hear try harder, I get a twitch in my eye right there. Okay, let me see if this will actually run now. Let's see. You just cut it out and send the command. Gonna run. Let's see. It looks like it is running. However, yeah, so it looks like when it runs it in here, if we don't have the detach, then it's not going to, it's basically, notice how it's blocking right now. So what happened is This is running, but it's in a blocking state. It's not allowing the rest of the system to execute. So what we need to do is go kill that container. Let's see. We need to stop it, actually. So stop that one, then we'll remove it. Oh, it was already set to auto remove. We don't have to. The Splunk one. Are you doing the sock simulator? Because that was really fun, actually. We went through and did that one on stream, and we had a good time with it. I think they did a pretty decent job with it. Let's see here. One thing I always recommend to people, if you have the capacity to do it, like if you have maybe I was trying to see if I had one, an Intel Nook, small computer. Usually you pack it with like 32 gigs of RAM. It's pretty easy to get a hold of. But on there, you can run something like Elastic Security. So then you have a different lab setup, and then you have it shipping all of your logs up to Elastic, and you can kind of start working in there and correlating things. It's pretty fun. Let's see. Okay, so I think now what we need is, we do need to run this again. However, we're going to need the detach equal to. We are going to need that in here. Okay, now it should be running. Let's verify that real quick. Yes, so we now have our browser running. Excellent. So now, let's see what we can get from that container. I don't think we get like the standard IO. Could we get the read on it? What do we got? Standard out, actually, is what we want. Okay, so it's standard out. This one, if we set that to true, which is the default, it would return the logs whenever we're set to detach equals false. However, we're set to detach equal to true, so I don't think we have to deal with that. Let's just run this. What do we get when we run that? We get nothing. We have like a logs method in. Okay, so we do have the logs method in here. Excellent. So I think if we take that in string, toString, we might just be able to wrap that. So if we do like wrap that as a string. No, dang it. I gotta remember how to do that. What we want to do is we want to convert bytes to strings. So Python bytes to string. I remember how to do this. There's our standard out. How we do this? Ah, we gotta decode it. Okay. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah, so we'll decode that as UTF-8. And then we should have a nice string. Excellent. So what we can do is, after this runs, we could put like a timed loop right here. And that timed loop could say, hey, check to see, do we see listening on at the beginning of the string? We'll just do a real quick match. If it does, then boom, we know the container's running. It can then go on. Let's see. Excellent. So we do want this. Copy this. I'm going to bring it up here. Actually, what I need is the time in here. I think it's stopped now. Before I get too far ahead of myself, let me capture this real quick. Let's see. By the way, I warned you, I'm a sucky Python developer. I'm having to like search all these methods and figure out what it is. Get current time. It is now. Okay. It was psyching me out because it didn't give like an option for date time. Oh, it's because we had an imported date. That's why. Oh, no, 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 stop. Stop. I shouldn't need to install it. Stop. Kill up space. We should already have date time. I think that's a built-in. I just wanted to... Yeah, from date time. There we go. All right, so we'll do time equals now. We'll do end time is going to be let's see, time. Hey Cypher, what's up, dude? I was thinking about you the other day because I forgot what happened. I think I got up to leave the stream for a minute, and I noticed that you weren't in here spamming stuff in chat. Hey Oni, what's up, dude? Yeah, everybody coming in expecting the new stream. I decided to hold up on the new stream because we're gonna have a ton of news coming out of Black Hat and DEF CON. And then I remembered, and also, so it's a very slow news week right now. Everything basically goes on pause for Black Hat and DEF CON. So I was like, cool, we'll just catch up next week. I forgot I actually have to travel for work next week, so there will be no news stream. Dang it. So we're gonna have a whole lot to catch up on in a couple weeks on the news. Maybe I'll try and do like an extended news stream. You are absolutely missed, Cypher. Yes. Where am I traveling? I got to go up to Seattle. I got to go up to home base. Let's see. How do I add it to current time? Like, I want to find the time 30 seconds in the future. Let's see. That's converting time zones. Don't need to do that. Let me see. In time. What do I want to do? Let's see. Timestamp today. How do I add 30 seconds onto this? I don't think it's just as simple as like adding 30 onto it. Let's see. Python time in future. Ah, there we go. Time delta. That's what I wanted. So we'll do dt equals time delta, and then you just add those two together. Okay, perfect. So what we'll do td is going to equal time delta, and this should be seconds equals 30. Give it 30 seconds to start up. End time is now going to be time plus td. Go. Now, you know, we'll call this timeout. Because then what I'm going to do is, wow. Let's see. While datetime dot now is less than our timeout. We want to do stuff. Actually, why did I have this double? There. Do this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to read this container right here, and we're going to just do a string search for listening on. So what we'll do is, yeah, let's do this. I'll need to check. Let's see, Python check. For substring. I gotta remember how to do this. Let's see. So substring equals geeks. Let's see, where is it here? That's right, if need. That's right. You can literally just do an if statement if this is in the string. Boy, okay. That. All right, so if listening on, real simple dirty hack in, let's see, this would be this guy right here. Then all we're going to do is we're going to break. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So what's going to happen here is the container's going to spin up. It should be like real fast, right? In fact, I'm even going to just drop that down to like 10 seconds. It shouldn't take very long for this container to start up. We'll check the time delta. We'll say, hey, by the way, while the current time is less than this timeout, we'll do if this is going. So it's going to query this in real time. If listening on, which is the output signal here, comes up, then we're going to break, and then it should actually try and connect to the MCP server. Let's see what happens. Apparently, didn't like that. What happened? So where did we get the timeout? Let's see. We had async request. So for some reason, it wasn't able to connect. Okay. Oh, you know why? I think I know why. Because this right here. So what we did, I forgot about this. We were randomly assigning the container port, right? So this right here is actually not correct. This needs to be that. And we'll format string. There we go. So what is happening is it was always trying to connect on 8931, but that's the internal port on the container. The exposed port is this container port here. That's what was happening. All right. Let's see. Let me go kill these. Pipe grip browser. There we go. All right. Let me kill these real fast. So we're going to stop browser. Which one is this? 7F. And then we're also going to kill browser YQ. Kill both of those, and then what we're going to do is we're going to remove those containers. They auto remove, but that's fine. There we go. So now this should actually map properly because it couldn't connect to it on the internal port. It needed to connect to it on the external port. All right, cool. No crash is good. It means it's doing stuff. All right, let's go see if we can find the trace for it. Yes, log me in. Ah, piece of crap. Hang on, guys. Let me drop into OPSEC mode real quick. Hey, there we go, though. Oop. All right, once I got logged in, what we have here is we can see that model actually did try to go do stuff. Cool. Nice. Nice. We got stuff. Cool. So at least our working version is working, because now what we're doing is we're taking this kind of working proof of concept, we're converting it over into the actual agent over here. Now, the kicker here is what we're going to do is we're going to convert all of this code here into a kind of a persistent browser that we can store over here in the state table. So that's the plan right here. Excellent. Excellent. So, let's see. All right, so now we can get into the LangGraph part now that the Docker portion is done. Let's get rid of this because we shouldn't need that. It was importing. Oh, no, we do need that. Except that shouldn't be browser, that should be persistent browser. Wait, that's the exploitation agent. Where is it? Browser utils. Here we go. So we had a set message, we had update messages, we had the agent generator. And then we hit our execute function right here. Okay. So this gets a little bit funky because of the asynchronous part. What we have to do is, since everything is basically running asynchronously, and this has to do with the way the MCP server works up here, right? So this MCP server, oh, I need to go modify all of this, I think. No, I did make one minor modification, which is this part right here. Docker from env, this is not correct. This needs to be reworked too. Oh wait, actually it was working from env. Weird. Because when we ran this in the Python console, it wasn't working. All right. Well, cool. We'll leave it with from env then. Excellent. Let's see. All right, so we have our container here. And essentially, here's what we're kind of searching for, guys. This is the kind of solution I've got worked out right now. Bring this down here. Load this up. There we go. So this is kind of what we're thinking, right? Stinger being our supervisor will eventually call the exploitation agent. Exploit will then call the browser agent, and it's going to be its own graph in here. So this will be the subgraph. But in reality, browser is actually going to have a second subgraph here, which is a React agent. It's going to be handling, going through, and doing everything. We could kind of combine these two. Just not sure how. Julian, what's up, man? Thank you for coming online. Welcome in, and I hope you're having an actually terrific Taco Tuesday. I can't believe I've never thought of that alliteration before. It's always been fantastic, because it's like fantastic whatever day. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I had a pretty good one today. But it's like, why didn't I do terrific Taco Tuesday? The alliteration just writes itself. Bye. Oh. It's a good day. It's going to be a good day today, Tater. Oh, yeah. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. My doctor just cleared me to get back to exercising. She wants me to start physical therapy for my back, and I'm excited. And it was so dang cute, guys. Today, Agent Zero, my oldest son, he's 6. He's like, "Daddy, when are you gonna start working out again? I want to work. I want to exercise with you." I was like, "I'm trying to, buddy. The doctor just said I can start exercising again." Long story short, I absolutely BTFO'd a disc in my back in January, and then also damaged the disc adjacent to it. So it's been a little bit of a recovery road. Hey, Austin. How you doing, man? All right. So what we're going to do is browser utils should have everything to make the persistent browser. Let me think about this. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go dig in really deep into the async IO portion of this. Oh, I did in Austin. Hang on, let me, I don't think I saw it. Oh, I did see it. I don't think I was able to see it though, because where I keep everything for Twitch, I'm not logged in onto Facebook. Oh, no, yeah, I was able to see it. Yeah, I looked at your pictures. Yeah, I liked them, man. Yeah, I thought they were really good. Now, take it for what it's worth. I think they're fantastic. I also have a horrible artistic eye. So, I can view and appreciate art. Making it, not a chance. Makes me really happy that Agent Zero is very good at drawing so far for his age. You know, right? He's not Picasso or anything, but for his age, he's really good, and he makes really interesting little pictures. Usually, you're centered around Sonic or Thomas the Train. So this is going to call agent gen, which I don't think this is how I wanted it. I gotta remember how I did this. This was one of the areas after I kind of struggled on it for several weeks. I did actually finally acquiesce, and I got some advice from Claude for it. Let's see. Let's see. So this was the example code we had been using. Do everything in Lightroom. Is that like a photo editing software? Oh, it's an Adobe suite. Gotcha. Here's our browser session manager. I kind of want to start a new chat around this and to figure out how to actually get this going. Because this thing, it thinks we're using like a research workflow. Like, that's not the case of anything inside this. We're doing the exact opposite of research. Let's see. So whatever this, where's this run additional research? So here's our research workflow, right? It says, hey, yeah, we're going to go through and we're going to do some stuff. And so when we do this, we're going to take in the query string and the session ID. Okay. So from the session ID, we're going to await the session manager get or create session. And like I said, I don't plan on using this code, but I'm trying to get the idea of where it's coming from. So that initializes a persistent browser session given it a session ID. And so from the persistent browser session, what do we have? We got our initializer in here. We have an execution query, and we have a cleanup. Okay. What else did I ask this thing to do? Let's see. Because actually, I had this conversation like a week ago with it. Okay, so here's our simplified version where we just have the persistent browser.
Caution.
Hey,
The virus
Hypnotic.
has been detected.
Hypnotic_games virus detected.
What's going on, man? I gotta send the Cookie Monster. It'll slow down the virus. The legally distinct Cookie Monster. Let me put it that way. Cookie like a browser Cookie Monster. Good day, man. How you doing? What were y'all up to? Dude, I'm glad they're going good, brother. I've had enough of things going sideways this past year to last me a long time. We're actually coming up pretty soon here on like the 1 year mark where everything just started going sideways, man. A refactor that I thought would take a week looks like it will take a day. Oh, nice. I'm glad, because I had a side quest in here where we were trying to hook a browser up to this hacking agent that we're building. I thought was going to take me a week, and it took me 6. So I'm glad yours is working in the opposite favor, in in your direction. Tech cookie, you feckless techno weenie. Melon, I am so happy you said that. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if did I put something in here? Here we go.
Let's echo 23, see what's up.
Oh, so many good lines in that movie. And some of my other buddies that work in cybersecurity don't like it, and I'm like, they don't get why I like it so much. And I was like, dude, it's like a pug dog. It's so ugly, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, I like pugs. I like them a lot, but it's because of how ugly they are. They're so ugly, they're beautiful. Adorably ugly. All right. So normally, guys, what we're working on, for everybody who just came in, how you doing? My name's Blaise. I've been in IT for 15 years. I've been in cybersecurity, or professionally, like in red teaming for 7 years. And I've literally pulled off my first computer hack when I was in 2nd grade. So what we're doing is we're building a little hacking agent to go play CTF games. And we're having a lot of fun with it. After banging my head against this browser issue, one thing I found out that it needs is it has to work in a certain asynchronous loop. And I actually am not really good at asynchronous programming. So finally, after banging my head against that for a while, I did go ask Claude. Usually, I'm not asking any AI for help in writing this code. Oh, let's see. Oh, we got the ads up already. All right, we'll let them chill for just a second. Let me see what we've got going on here. Let me copy this code real fast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 3rd copy of this. Let's do Python. Call this, I call it Claude browser. Yeah, definitely taking the slow path. For shame. I know, right? Well, the thing is, I suck at asynchronous programming, so I needed some way to help out with this. Because essentially what happens is when we connect to the MCP server, which is connecting us to Playwright, when that happens, actually, here's a better example. When this MCP server gets connected, the session is only available while we're inside that async loop. So if we did it in a synchronous fashion, it reinitializes the browser every time, and we don't have a constant browser session open. It's like we've got 5 steps we need to do in the browser. Every time we try to execute a step, it's like we're starting back from the about blank page. So, kind of beat down. Slow-mo, what's up, dude? So finally, I did ask Claude. I'm not against using AI for coding. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I've got my IDE on my work laptop. I've got it hooked up into AI coding assistance. I don't have this one because this is more of an exercise in trying to stretch my neurons and my understanding. However, that being said, eventually you do reach a struggle point where the struggle is providing severely diminished returns. And that's when it's okay to like ask for help. You can go ask for help ahead of time, anyway, but you really got to get to a point where you need to get over the problem, and so you can continue progressing on. That would be about the time I'd bring in an AI part. So aside from this specialty agent and in the utilities, where's the utils? Or where did I put that? I forget. I don't know where I put it. Not in there. There it is, utils. It's right there. This one system right here is not AI generated, but it was AI inspired, let's call it, because this code to integrate into our tooling server was partially, I had to figure out how to do a certain kind of dance with how different objects were working. This part was actually inspired by some stuff I got out of Grok, because I was just messing around with different ones. I don't stick to any particular one. I try a little Claude, try a little Grok, bounce back and forth, have some fun with it. But in this case, I do want to get over this and get it functional. So I've kind of banged my head against it. So what I'll do is come through and actually examine the code and what it's doing and make sure I understand each of the flows, the processes, what all the variables are doing before I just come in and ham-fist it into here. So like, for example, there's an error right here. See how it says we're exposing this port, but we actually don't. Oh no, we do need that. But like this right here, this output dir, this has changed because now we're not using, this has changed because we're using a, what is it? We're using a Docker volume instead. Where's what oh, we raided. What's up, man? Yes, we're doing some Python hacking bot building, and unfortunately, much to my shame, I'll get the little bell out. Shame, shame. Is working on building out a browser integration, so we'll have some browser stuff in here. How did I do that over here, though? Hold on, let me look at something. Where's our Docker volume? Okay, so HackerBot just goes to data. Let me go adjust that real quick. Let's see. Because like I said, this code is not correct at all. So HackerBot, we're going to just mount into data, and this output directory we're going to change to /data Actually, hold on. Where did I put that? Where was it before? Output, yeah. We're just going to change this to data/browser. That's where that's going to go. Do you have your PyTest going? I do not. There are no test cases built into this. There are none. So, hopefully the code works. But eventually, right now, let me give y'all a little bit of a quick peek for everybody who hasn't seen this before. One sec, let this load up here real quick. If it can. Hold on, let me make sure the server's actually up. Yep, we're up. Why are you doing this to me? No, you better not have freaking upgraded. I'm gonna... Oh, dang it. It broke it. Anyway. Well, hang on. I think I have another diagram of it here somewhere. Yeah, there we are. Alright, so essentially this is what we're building. I had a nice, pretty diagram. Unfortunately, I accidentally hit a package upgrade button that I didn't even know PyCharm had. So, bad on you, PyCharm. Don't do that. Don't do that. But this is essentially what we're building. We have Stinger up here, who's the supervising agent, and then we have 4 primary agents. So we've got recon, enumeration, exploitation is the one we're currently working on. Once this one is done, and its sole job is to get us a user shell on the system. And not even actually a user shell. Its job is to get us command execution for a single command at a time on the system. So in this case, we're going to be dropping a PHP web shell onto the server. And then post-exploitation's job is to upgrade that to a C2 agent and then handle all the interactions for the C2. So for example, privilege escalation might be a specialty agent that interacts with both of these down here. And the browser agent might be one that, hey, everybody's got access to for whatever reason. So this is what we're currently working on. This is our current objective, which is the exploitation agent. When we get to post-exploitation, we're actually going to hook the agent over into a system called Mythic. It's a really cool command and control framework, and I know the developer of it. I talk to him pretty much daily. He is a fantastic guy. He's been on the stream before and was helping me understand it, answering questions and whatnot. He's going to come back on once we finish the exploitation agent to help kind of brainstorm how to do the integration with the post-exploitation agent and to answer anybody's questions. So really, really cool framework. I really like it. It's a little bit different from your standard C2, something like even like Metasploit framework, or if you ever experienced like Sliver or Cobalt Strike, and that it's really designed to provide tools for you to go build stuff with it. So it's more like a framework and a little less like a C2 platform. I recently did a Tesla spike of a distributed system. I got pretty far, but since I had to retreat into testing specific bits for my own sanity. So what is a Tesla spike? Because I work on braking systems. I don't actually try to go through and adjust them or like fix them usually. I tell other people how to go fix them. That's one thing I do like about being on the offensive side is I could just tell them how they should fix it. I don't have to actually go do the fixes. All right. What happened in here? Something got updated and it broke this. I don't want to go on this detour. This is going to piss me off. Hold on. Where's my project? There's our MCP adapter. See, we didn't even install datetime. I think it just went through and updated everything. Where's the locked file? There's our lock file. Oh, by the way, Melon, I didn't get to tell you, I don't think. Thank you for coming online a little bit ago. Very glad to see you. And then Summer Primes, thank you for coming online. Welcome in. I hope everybody's having a terrific Taco Tuesday. I did not have tacos today. For some reason, I had Polish sausage. That's what my wife had pulled out of the freezer. She's like, hey, it's been in here since 2023. We should eat this. I'm like, okay, cook it. Go for it. I know I had to fix this before. Hang on one second. There we go. It's the LangGraph API, I think, that had to be updated to get that to work. Then let me try this again. There we go. Now it's functioning. I don't know why, whatever it was trying to do, it didn't like that. But now this should actually be working. Let's see. Hey, there we go. So this is like the main overview of the agents right here. So this, what we're seeing is actually the graph for the Stinger agent, which is the supervisor. And then we have the actual Stinger agent node right here. It's really just a node now. This is going to be like, let's call this the master workflow. Stinger is eventually going to become its own subgraph in here that's going to manage the connections to all these other ones. So like Recon, you see it spreads out. It's its own workflow. Wait, where'd you go? Back. Died. There it goes. So eventually, like I said, there's a fourth agent over here that's missing right now that we haven't gotten to yet. Right now, we're just trying to get the exploitation agent to work. You love my code. All the ENV vars just in the repository. No, don't tell me that. No, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. All those tasty DB creds just sitting there. Bro, you're just waiting for somebody with Truffle Hog to come along. T-Pack, what's up, man? I guess when people just move code around and don't know where to put it, trouble may ensue. Yeah, exactly. It's the reason why I'm not vibe coding this. Plus, I feel like it's going to not teach me as much. I'll use it in certain circumstances, but for the most part, better than 99% of this code has been written by me. Like I said, the only two areas that are I'm using any AI to help with, funny enough, because we're building an AI system in here, an AI agent, is this browser. I need some help with the async side because I don't understand asynchronous coding in Python very well. And one integration with the tooling server. That was about it. And the thing with the tooling server is it's an HTTP interface. This was pre-MCP. Don't at me, bro. What happened is we would actually go make a request over to the tooling server. It would return back a whole list of like HTTP variables that said, hey, these are the functions that are available and here's how you call them. It was really cool. It just kind of got stomped on a little bit by MCP. It does have some other extra features though, which is why I'm not abandoning it, because all the tools that it provides are defined as YAML files. And in that YAML file, we can specify a Docker container and the particular functions that run inside that Docker container and all the parameters that you need to run it. So as that happens, we can now, eventually I want to build a specialty agent to go build those YAML files. So we'll have an agent that can go connect out to the internet, gather information, and if it sees that there's a particular tool we need, maybe we need netexec. Okay, cool. It goes and can grab down, it can either find the Docker container or figure out how to build it, basically completely craft the YAML file, drop it into RoboPages, reboot the container, and then bam, now we instantly have new tools available to use. So that's way in the future, but that is something I'm looking forward to. Do you at least ask the AI for code review? No, because it's going to just bitch at me. Dang it. You know what just reminded me about? I forgot. I have to go make a charitable donation. Every time the swear jar hits an increment of 50, it's a donation. And we hit 50 a couple streams ago. I got to go make a donation. I'll post it up on Discord for complete transparency on when I make that. I really have been trying to cut back on my cussing. I'll tell you a funny one. My father-in-law, he's a plumber, has his own plumbing company. He's been literally doing it for 50 years. And since he was like, 7. And he just has a plumber's, vocabulary. And my niece, who spent a lot of time around him, comes into the house one day, and she's like, "Nah, nah, I can't find my fucking boots." And it's like, "You mean your boots?" "No, my fucking boots. I can't find them." Oh, this cracks me up. And that particular niece is a wild child. All right, so let's take a look at what we're doing here with this persistent browser. Let me collapse this down. So we have our browser analysis workflow, and we have a single multitask workflow. And so for the example here, this is what Claude spit out. So we're going to say running the browser analysis workflow example. So that would be browser analysis workflow, this one right here. So this one should be, let's see, browser to analysis to browser workflow. So let's look at this real quick for this first example. So it's going to initialize a persistent browser agent. Okay, so we're already back up into this class. So when we initialize this, we have like a whole lot of nothing in here. Like we don't have a client, session, container, name, or port. Oh, it's because previously these were all randomly defined. This is actually going to need to change in here, but we can leave it as is for now. It will still be functional. All I was going to do is just change how these containers got named. That's fine. So in the initializer function, what are we going to do? So we set all this up. We have an async await, which we can do because we're inside the async function. We set up the MCP connection. That's fine. Let's see. So from the MCP session here, so from self client, we're going to do an asynchronous enter. We're going to get our tools. And then from our agent, we're going to create the React agent in here. So we've got this going. This is just a placeholder. Eventually, it should use the same language model we've got for it. And then we'll do is initialized. We'll set that to true. And then boom, we've got this going. All right. So hold on. So after we get this persistent browser agent, we do an execute. Actually, so how are we executing before we're initializing? Because we're not actually, notice how we're not using the init function, right? It's not doing this whenever we initialize it, right? We're not doing the init function. So when we do execute, I see. So when we execute it, it's going to initialize it instantly. All right. Seems like a little bit of a roundabout way to do it, but it'll work. And then we do the query coming from whatever our task is, and we return the message content. Okay. Got it. Excellent. Okay. Makes sense. The cleanup function's a little funny in here. I think so. But anyway, let's see. So from our browser agent, we do this. Let's see, we get our initial result, result analysis. Okay, so like, see all this weird hard-coded stuff in here? This is all odd. Okay, so this is going to do it in the same session here. So again, in the browser agent, it's going to call exec or execute. Let me double check something in here. So for execute, what we're going to do here. So we're still just going to use that self agent in here. I don't feel like this is going to do what it thinks it's going to do. Gotta keep them separated. I know, right? Draw me 50 dashes. Okay, so finally it's going to clean up the browser. What if I don't want it to clean up the browser, right? Let's see. All right, now what if this was running a simple multitask example? So let's go look at this function up here. It collapse this down. I'd say I don't think this is going to work the way Claude thinks it's going to work. Which is why anytime I have it spit out code, I'm like, let's go analyze this very carefully. Let's see. So we specify a new persistent browser agent, which is fine. And then result one, we tell it to execute. In this case, this was going and searching GitHub for Playwright. Click on the first result. Tell me about the repo. Collapse this down. Why is it only getting like the first 200 characters though? Kind of weird. So still inside the same session. Okay. So in theory, we actually shouldn't even need this. If this works, I'm going to test it out here. I don't think it's going to work the way it is, but if we have this persistent browser session happening here, we can store that over in the state table. We've got a spot already prepared for that. Then every time the agent gets invoked, boom, we just have it come through and do that. What's the name of the coding you do where you make a test each time you write something, so you write more than you're supposed to? I feel like this is a riddle or Ligma, one of the two. TDD, and it's more like an approach the amount you should, not write more than you needed. Yeah, I mean, I get the idea of writing test cases whenever you do that. One of the benefits of writing, let's call it hacker-based code, is that you can get away with a lot of like non-standard coding practices. And so even though actually I really should be doing that, I have a major rewrite planned already for this whole thing, right? So once we get to post-exploitation and it's able to solve the entire first challenge with no issues, it can do it from start to finish with nothing but, hey, here's the IP address, go and hack it. Because right now we're giving it breadcrumbs. We tell it, hey, find out some information about it. Eventually, actually, after we finish post-exploitation, we've got to come back up to Stinger, because Stinger has to have functionality to analyze the output from recon, enumeration, and all these, and then figure out what the next step should be. What else do we need to find out about this guy? And then it would create new tasks and then issue them to the agents to go run. Unit testing, yes. So whenever you're writing unit tests for guys who are like professional developers, do you literally write one just like for each function? Let's say you go add a new function into the system. Do you go add a new unit test for like every function that comes in there whenever you do that? Walk the maze. That's what I do. Actually, I tell everybody all I do is I just hack around and find out. Eventually, like I will mess with the code, I'll test it, I'll go read the code before I go read the documentation. Yeah, you just try to get to about 70% of your code coverage. Gotcha. I kind of like this idea that we've got going. So here's our result 1, result 2, result 3. Actually, come to think of it, I think the way this is structured, we might just be able to use this. If we took this persistent browser, we'll have to go clean it up, but I think this is actually a really solid base for this. So if we took this over into our browser utils here, and we use this as essentially the basis here, which is kind of what I was working toward. Let's see. Oh, we don't have the Docker socket defined, which is fine. Because the Docker socket was just Docker from env. Let's go fix up a couple of missing pieces of code here. I'll close this one. Oh, wait, I needed that open. I don't need it right now. That's fine. Let's go drop that right there. That should be fine. We will need to import this. Random, and I guess same thing for the string. Yeah, I guess for now, there's no, I really just wanted for tracking purposes to make that a little bit simpler. But you know what, it'll work. In fact, I want to change this. We're going to change that to ASCII lowercase. Uppercase makes it a little more. All right. So once we have this going, let's see, is the container port mapped correctly? It is. We have our volume mapped to data, our output directory going there as well. We're good. I'm going to make this a little bit more readable fast. Let's kind of group these together. There we go. This makes this one particular command a little bit easier because these two go together. These two go together. Makes it a tiny bit, a little bit more readable. Do you make Python packages or is it a bunch of scripts in a directory? Kind of right now, just a bunch of scripts and directories. Eventually, like I said, I will want to go through and clean it up. Once it is to the point where we have all 4 primary agents, they're working, and Stinger is just given the most minute amount of information. We tell Stinger, hey, here's the IP address of the CTF target, go hack it. It should be able to generate all of its own tasks in here. So Stinger would say, okay, cool, I've got an IP address. Let's figure out something about it. I'm going to do an nmap scan. Recon, go do an nmap scan. Boop, it comes through and does it. Or, okay, cool, now that we know what's running on those ports, what else can we find? And it should actually be able to walk itself through the pen test lifecycle where it says, okay, we need to do recon, enumeration, exploitation. Right now, what we're giving it is, we're giving it kind of breadcrumbs right here. So we tell it, scan the target to find out how many open ports there are, figure out the version of Apache that's running, figure out what's running on port 22, and then finally we actually tell it, hey, go use GoBuster to find some hidden directories on the web server. What's hidden out there? And then lastly, what we tell it is, hey, go drop a web shell and get a command execution on it. So we're giving it the breadcrumbs now. Eventually what we'll do is we won't give it any of this. We'll say, here's your target machine. Go hack it. That's what we're going to do. And like I said, Mel, I don't know. I'm not a very good developer at all. This is like my first project I'm actually writing a lot of code for. So this is partially an exercise in becoming how to be better. But also I realize I don't want to try to get stuck on so much minutia that the project doesn't progress. So like I said, once Stinger is able to develop his own task list, hand them off to these agents, and complete the exploit chain. So getting onto the system, or identifying a potential vulnerability, testing it out, getting access to the system, and then privilege escalating to root access over here in post-exploitation. Once all those are done, then we're going to actually go through and do a massive rewrite of it and clean it up and do code properly. How are you doing the inter-agent comms? Actually, LangGraph makes it really simple. So every node in here, right? Every one of these nodes gets a copy of the state table. And you actually have some flexibility in that. You can do different types of state tables. So for example, recon, enumeration, exploit, they could have their own state table, but really it's just a types dictionary over here. So we've got a place to store our discovered hosts, whatever our tasking lists are, an integer pointing to whatever the index is of the current task. We have also context for keeping track of like what we're doing with it. And then also persistent tools and whatever our next one is in here. So like this is actually used by Stinger to say, oh, okay, the next task was assigned to recon, so I'm going to send it over to recon. And then so every one of those nodes, every one of those graphs gets a copy of the state table. It's basically just this, book of truth that's getting passed around to everybody in there. In fact, one of the things we'll need to work on is how to get this specialty agent in a state where it can be called from these other agents right here. And I think I've got an idea on how to do that. I'm pretty sure we can do that with something called the command in here. And we actually do that with Stinger up here. So in Stinger is very, very simple right now. What happens is we have like a thing to like spoof user input if we don't really have anything in here. but we've already got that taken care of. Essentially what happens is we pass it in like an initial state table. The initializer comes in and takes what we have told it and builds a list of tasks in here. And then it passes it down to Stinger. And right now, Stinger's not doing much. You see, this is very simple. It's going through and it's reading that state table right here. And it looks at it and says, okay, who's the next one in line for the next task? So the first task is recon, next one's enumeration, next 3 are enumeration, whatever. It reads that, and then it just assigns that to this goto value in here. And then goto then says, okay, cool. We're going to use the command function to go jump over to that agent and pass it over to it. So I'm pretty sure we can do the exact same thing here by having a convenient place that comes in and all the specialty agents right here. What I'm planning on doing is in the special agents init, we'll have it actually go through and enumerate all the specialty agents in here, and then go get whatever they're exporting out of their initializers, whatever their init functions are. Like I don't have one in here, I need to put one. But as it goes through and it finds all of those, then it will come back and it will say, okay, cool, here's the specialty agents that we have. It'll make a combined list, and then these other various graphs can import that object from here. That's what I'm thinking about doing. Yeah, let's see here. I think that is good. We do need to import async IO. So let's do that. Wait for the container to start. Yeah. You know what? Fine. We'll give it like 5 seconds. Sounds like it's an all-in process, not running as distinct entities. Bengals, crush you! Gotta get the Bezos bucks. Oh, Papa Bezos. He's not actually making any money off Twitch. Twitch is a money loser. Well, let's see here. So in our browser utils, all right, so we initialize our MCP. We get that. We get. I really want to try this though. Where's our cloud browser? I kind of want to test this out. It's interesting how one can compete with other platforms by simply losing money initially. True, except Twitch has been around and had so much of a first mover advantage. I don't know how they have survived this long with, or if they've ever turned a profit for Amazon. I feel the same way about when I was doing a lot of crypto trading. But T0, I was actually really excited about when it first came out because they were supposed to be like they had the first mover advantage, and then I felt like they lost that completely and just got their lunch eaten by Coinbase. Let me see here. And to be straight, I never did like crypto trading. It was a lot more like just speculative investing. Like I wasn't sitting there doing day trading on it. No, forget that noise. I did that with real stocks and futures, and that was painful. Hey, Hats, what's up, man? Remember when Amazon released a phone? Wait, they released a phone? I don't remember that. I mean, did they make like a Kindle phone or something? Because I know like every kid under the sun has like a Kindle tablet practically. I kind of want to run this and just see what it does. Let's see if it eats itself. It did eat itself. So we got a 400 bad request for /MCP. Where was it trying to connect to, though? 10159. Okay. Kindle tablets suck for anything other than reading. I agree, man. They had the Fire Phone? What? Let's see here. I don't remember the Fire Phone. When was this released? 2014, July of 2014. That's why I don't remember that. I don't remember. Yeah, I remember why I don't remember that. That's because I was like deep in the throes of about to get married. I just had my 11-year anniversary with my wife. And so it was all leading up to that. No wonder why I wasn't paying any attention to that. I had so many bigger problems at that time. Dynamic perspective using a front-facing camera and gyroscope to track the user's movements. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have trusted... I don't have like an Alexa or anything like that in my house. Oh, rip. Yeah. No, Amazon is so desperate for everyone's data. That's why I don't trust them a lot of times. I beg to differ. If you get a tablet with ads, it sucks for reading too. Dude, I'm so sick of ads. Oh, let's see. I would actually pay for YouTube Premium if they actually allowed it to, you know, run without ads, like 100%. I don't like this two-tier, like some have ads, some don't. No. GTFO, I don't want ads. I would pay you to get rid of the ads, but I'm not doing this half-assed approach. I'd rather sell a kidney to get an iPad than buy a Kindle. You know, actually, hey, a lot of times over on Woot.com, you can find their older generation, but they work just fine. iPads on there for like $250, $300. That's what I have. The iPad I'm using right now on stream, I don't want to lift it up because I think the cable's gonna. But the one I'm using to draw on right here, it's like I think it's a 2022 iPad. I got it off of Woot for like $250. I don't even know what model it is. It's a model that works. I'm not power using my iPad. It's for reading and occasionally watching YouTube videos. So why couldn't it connect to the MCP server? Look at something real quick. Yes. All right, what about our containers? Okay, so none of the we don't have any browser containers in here. Was it not able to connect? Like, did the browser just... the container not launch? Let me check something real quick. Here we did for our good old MCP. Yeah, that should be correct. Localhost container port over to MCP. Let me just try running it one more time. Maybe we had a fluke. Nope, sure didn't like it. All right, let's do a little bit of troubleshooting here. Let's comment out the auto remove real quick. And we'll see if the container is actually getting started and created. That'll help us know where to start troubleshooting. Because if the container's not getting created... Actually, there we go. So it says it actually did stop the container. Yep, and it was the correct one too. All right. Let's get rid of that. So Docker container rn. What happened? Kill the container. So that is not the issue. Oh. Self-container port. Hey, Ken, what's up, dude? I got premium and I never see ads. Okay. Maybe I'll consider thing, because YouTube is like the primary thing that I watch. Actually, as much as I hate to admit it, I've actually been watching a lot of TikTok lately. because I have an old iPhone. It's an iPhone 10, and I keep it isolated for doing not sketchy stuff, but stuff I don't want on any other phone. And so I have TikTok on there, and I've actually been learning to like try to like make short videos for that in YouTube, right? So if you go onto the YouTube page, you would see the short video I threw up of the difference between a hub and a switch, which I thought was freaking hilarious. Maybe I just have like too much. I think too highly of myself. I thought that was hysterical. Let's see. So why is it not connecting to the MCP server? So weird. Let's turn this up just a wee bit. Let's let it chill out for a second. Maybe it's not actually starting the container properly. Give it about 10 seconds, and it'll kick over. All right, so the port mapping looks correct, right? So this is telling the MCP server to map to 8931. We're telling the container to map 8931 to our local port over here. I tell you what, I'm going to put a stop right here. I'm going to debug it. Let's see what the container's actually doing. Let's just go double check here. Okay, so we hit this. Let's look at this. Docker PS. I think this is actually backwards, come to think of it. Hold on. Let me double check something. Do I have those backwards? I think I might. I think I screwed up the command here. Let's change something here. But that's too high. That's not a report. Let me check something real quick. Lose my mind. Docker publish. I feel like I'm doing this backwards here. Yeah, so it's host and then container. Yeah, I've got it backwards. Yep, so it's host port and then container port. Yeah, I'm a dummy. That was the problem. Why did I run that? Right, let me come back up here. So this should be actually backwards. That's why. Because it's host port and then container port. There we go. That would explain why I couldn't reach it. Why are you throwing a fit? Oh, it's because it's expecting this to be a string. I forget how to do that. Let's see. Python int to string. I know there's a very simple function. What is it? Oh, okay, just wrap it in string. Fine. I thought there was another. I thought there was a built-in method to integers do that. It's not. Hold on, ports should be. Hold on. Why is this thing complaining? I think the IDE is just spazzing out on me. Yeah, I think it is. Fine, you know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna do it this way. Here. Will that make you happy? Oh wait, I know the problem. It actually wants that to be an integer. It wants a string to an integer. Alright, I'll do this the correct way then. String. I realized where I was screwing up. There we go. Okay, fine. We'll go back to the format string. That, for some reason, made you happy. Oh, you just noticed the human error shirt? Yeah. I don't know where I got this. Probably 90% of my shirts are IT swag, and I just happened to run into one of the Mimecast reps at my last job, and he got me this shirt. So, yeah, I get a lot of kicks out of this one. Everybody's like, where'd you get that? I was like, I don't know. Let's see. I should be able to drop this back down. Hang on. Let me do something. One, two. Yeah, 5 seconds should be plenty. I can drop that value back down. All right, let me try this again. So now that I got the container port sorted out, all connection attempts failed. What? Don't like that. I wanted to really. I thought I was out of purgatory, which is the browser purgatory. We are kind of. We're back over into Python instead of being stuck in Docker hell. Let's see. HTTPX transport defaults. Where's it having trouble with this? Let me check something. Let's do this again. Break right here. Debug this. Let's double check that Docker container. Alright, so we hit the breakpoint. Let's do... Let's just try something real quick. Let's curl from localhost 10. Couldn't connect to server. So did I have it correct the first time? Was I just gaslighting myself? easy way to find this out. Let's see. Yep, I had it backwards. It was correct the first time. Well, that'll teach me to double guess myself. So this was actually correct the first time. Let's take this out. It was 8931 mapped over to the container port. That was actually correct. Docker. Stop the container. Wait, did it kill the container? It did. Okay. Let's get rid of it then. Oh, it already got rid of itself. Perfect. Makes it even simpler. Debug. Cool, so we don't see anything running there. But let's go double check something. See, so for our browser agent, our container, where it is though. There's the browser name. Container port, there we go. 10727. Let's go look at that. 10727. Yep, there we go. Cool, so the Docker port is exposed. We're exposing ourselves. Alright, so we get up here, we start running. So we run the analysis workflow. Let's see. So in the browser agent execute is where we're getting this issue. So let's go look at that. So we're awaiting an agent A invoke query. Do we actually need to call? I don't think we actually need this. I think this actually may be kind of what's screwing it up. Because I thought it was weird that it was calling that asynchronous enter here. A lot of times LangGraph actually has oh, maybe we do need it. This returns an asynchronous iterator. I thought just calling the session actually did do that. Maybe that's why we didn't need it before.
Caution. A virus has been detected.
It's the Hack Smarter and Harder crew.
_smarter virus detected in the network.
Send the cookies to slow them down. What's up? Counterpoint. Have you guys tried hacking smarter and harder? You're really good at the hacking smarter part. But if you hack harder and smarter, it's just like win-win. They go together like lamb and tuna fish. What's up, Tyler? Dude, are you not at DEF CON right now? Or, oh, I guess right now would be Black Hat. And so, dude, if you're not, I don't blame you, because the only reason I've ever gone to Black Hat was when I was teaching there. So, I taught a course at, I submitted and had a training accepted by Black Hat 4 times, I think. Yeah, 4 times. And so top 4 years in a row at Black Hat. Only got to go in person 1 time. 3 of those years were virtual. I felt like I got gypped. Oh, you're going in on Thursday. Gotcha. I got you, boo. Well, cool, man. Hey, by the way, everybody who's here, do me a favor. If you see the guys from Dreadnode, these guys, I'm asking everybody to do this. Don't be obnoxious about it, but just go up and like, just say, even if you just see them like in passing, these guys right here, Dreadnode. If you see them, do me a favor. Only do it 1 time also. Just tell them, hey, by the way, Blaise says hi. Blaise says hi. I'm trying to get as many people as I can to just go through and tell them, because these are super smart guys. I've gotten acquainted with them from Steven Sims' stream. I was on there asking him questions, hopped in Discord, we've been chatting. And I think I'm one of the few people that's actually using Robo Pages. So they're really awesome. If you get in there though, just tell them, hey, by the way, Blaise says hi. It's even better if you just say that and then you walk off. I asked coworkers, I've asked everybody on stream, I've asked a lot of my friends. Like, by the way, if you see these guys, just tell them that. Just to kind of mess with them a little bit. They're all crazy smart, and they're doing a lot of they do a lot of AI security stuff. That's what the whole Dreadnode firm was created around, and I really like it. So I eventually actually thought about trying to incorporate strikes into this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, dude, Tyler, Black Hat is way too expensive for me. That's what I said. I've only been 1 time, and it was because I was teaching. Even then, that was a beatdown because I flew in on Friday because training starts on Saturday. So I flew in, so Friday evening through Sunday morning, the following Sunday, right? So like 11 days I was in Vegas. And that's about 4 times as much Vegas as the EPA has deemed to be a healthy value. So the fact that I've missed the last couple of years, I'm not stressing over because that was a lot of Vegas. That lasts a long time. And my wife, Stock, she is always like, well, you know, I've never been to Vegas. I'm like, sweetheart, there's nothing that you will like in Vegas. It's crowded and you don't like people. It's loud and you don't like loud. It's bright and flashy lights and you don't like bright and flashy lights. I was like, there's nothing. And there's gambling and you don't gamble. I was like, there's like nothing there. Let's see. You're pretty close, Heyo. I'm 40. I'm actually closer to 42 than I am to 41. I'm 41 right now. Yep. I'm a Zennial, I guess they call them. Like the early millennials. I don't know. Dude, I think they're just trying to come up with funny names to make people feel special. Whatever. I was born in 1984, though, which I do feel is slightly prophetic given my profession. Let me see here. So why is this still failing to connect over? By the way, everybody who just came in on Tyler's raid, what's up? My name is Blaise. I'm professional pen tester guy. Been doing that for 7 years and having a lot of fun. Been in IT for 15 years now. Dang. And what we're building is an AI hacking bot to play Try Hack Me and Hack the Box. So we're going through, the big thing we're doing right now is we're making our first specialty agent for this system. So quick back of the envelope drawing. What we have is we've got a supervisor agent that then handles divvying out tasks to our recon, enumeration, exploitation, and then eventually a post-exploitation agent. Exploitation is actually kind of working right now. However, since a lot of the exploits that you do in CTFs are web-based, we've been spending a lot of time building up a browser, and then we're going to wrap that into a special browser agent that these guys can then call on to say, oh, by the way, I need you to go check something like from a browser and browse to the site and be able to get it. Because a lot of times you can't just do a GET request against the web server and expect that you've gotten all the HTML that's going to be there. It doesn't work that way anymore. A lot of times they've got just a ton of JavaScript rendering that happens in the browser. So if you don't have a browser to interact with everything, you're missing out on a huge amount. I love that dial-up because it's the sound of my youth. I grew up on 56K. Krabs and Yupply, thank y'all for coming online. Welcome in. I hope you're having an absolutely terrific Taco Tuesday. It's a good day. Normally we'd be doing the news stream tonight. However, I decided since it's a slow news week and people are packing up, getting ready to head off to DEF CON, or if you're bougie, you're already at Black Hat, then I figure we'll chill out. We'll work on a little bit of HackBot today. Plus, I'm really excited about it because we're getting close. As soon as I can figure out why it can't talk to the MCP server, all of a sudden it's like, I don't know what to do. Most coding I do is Minecraft mods and packs. So, hey, I'll tell you actually a funny story. I was debating letting my son actually start playing Roblox since Roblox has essentially become like basically just a game engine at this point, just to give him some encouragement to start learning about writing code. And he's actually getting really good at reading and writing. And I know that's been part of the drive for it. I was like, buddy, to do this stuff, to do the hacks that you watch about on YouTube, you got to be able to read and write. You got to be able to understand it. Tip, just disable JavaScript. It may be fine sometimes, possibly. Kind of, sort of. Yeah, I'm sure, Bobby. There's like very few modern websites that'll run without JavaScript. Let me run this one more time here. I have no idea why it's having trouble. We'll have to go read through the code a little bit more. It looked legit on the surface, but this is one of the few, very, very few portions, one of only 2 portions of this entire code base that has been AI written. And I'm willing to bet that that's probably why it's having trouble. Okay, so we're saying it can't connect to the MCP server. Let me double check something real quick. What did I do? So in the working browser, we had the exact same setup. We passed the tools. After we got the tools, we did an await. Oh wait, why are we doing it that way? We used load MCP tools. That was not the one we're using in here. Wait, yeah, we are. Hold on, am I losing my mind? Let me double check what we've got going on here. Oh, I just forgot. I got to take care of something. I'll be right back, you guys. right, I'm back. I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. If he's under the age of 15, don't let him onto Roblox without looking to the game you want him on. 80% of the Roblox community is toxic and is surprised the game is marketed as biohazard. Oh, dude, no. That's actually one of the reasons why I told him he cannot play Roblox, is because I tell him straight up. I was like, hey, dude, there's stuff on the internet I don't want you exposed to. Which is ironic because not at his age, but as a very young dude, I was exposed to a lot on the internet with unfettered, unsupervised access. So, yeah, no, I don't think he's going to be getting on Roblox. However, you did bring up a good point. Modding Minecraft might be good. I'm a little sus about having him go start with Java because Java is one of the only languages where you tell the developers that language sucks and they're like, yeah, we know. Every other language, people are like, it's like, you know, see, if you go to a Go developer and you tell them Go sucks, they're like, no, Go is amazing. And they'll start like touting all of its like benefits. Like you go to a C developer and tell them, hey, C sucks. They're like, no, you suck. And here's why C is the best. You go to a Java developer and you tell them, hey, by the way, Java sucks. They're like, yeah, I know. I do Java. I'm sorry, T. I don't hate you for it. I get why Java is the thing and it's important. But man, Java is such a beatdown of a language for me. Let's see. All right, so where's it actually getting this here? So to compare these two, so we're doing this inside of our session, right? So we're saying, hey, by the way, async with our session as here, here's what we're doing. I don't know how this directly translates over though. Nerd! Shut up, baby, I know it. What's up, Stealth? How you doing, man? Look into mCreator. It's a block coding programming for Minecraft, but it's really easy to transition to custom code with the same program. Okay. It's mine. I swear. All of my... I know I'm old, guys, but I need my sticky notes. Here they are. It's how I remember stuff. My son is like, hey, Dad, how come you can't remember anything? It's like, I got a lot of crap to store in RAM, son. Of course, I find the one pin that doesn't work. Here we go. Hold on, because I got to write that down. Let's see. So for Minecraft, mblock. Yeah. Because he really, really wants to play Minecraft. I let him play it on the Switch right now. He really wants to play it on the computer, though. And he really wants to do the cool hacks that he sees Mikey and JJ doing. Hang on one sec, guys. Hey guys, give me one sec. I gotta check on something. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. All right, I'm back. No, the kids were not getting the shaving supplies. Hey, wait, where's the button? There it is. No. So I had my dog, Peaches. She was in the backyard, and I let her out just now because that was the thing I had to go do, was let her out in the backyard. So I told Sock, I was like, hey, do me a favor, let Peaches in like 5 minutes. She's got to go to the bathroom. Fine. She comes and gets me. She's like, I smell gasoline in the backyard. I'm like, what the heck, man? So, and she's like, it's a really strong smell. So I go out there, and for someone who's never been in an auto shop, she doesn't know what a strong smell of gasoline is. But anyway, I go out there and I do smell something. We're looking around. I think it was the neighbors behind me. There are a couple of motorheads. I think they were just working on their cars because it's not really like obnoxious. I still had to go check it out though. I was like, what is this weird smell? Please don't blow up my house. It's probably poop. No, it's not poop. Stealth, I've been doing pretty good, man. By the way, hold on, I'm catching up on the chat queue real quick. Hey Kaiju, dude, we're still working on HackBot. We're trying to get a specialty, the first specialty agent, which will be for web browsers. So it'll go through and it will handle like navigating in web pages for us. It's going to be super helpful. It's going to pay big dividends because a lot of these CTF challenges are all web-based in some fashion, right? So we definitely are going to need it. Let's see. MCreator sets up a girdle for you and for everything, even makes the base class for you. Oh, cool. Very cool. And Raphael, thank you for coming online. Welcome in. I hope you're having a terrific Taco Tuesday. Yes, I wrote down MCreator. I wrote it down wrong. I wrote down MBlock. Hang on. MCreator. Okay. Because he really badly wants to start messing with stuff like playing Minecraft on the computer. I'm probably going to make him wait a couple more months till his birthday. When he turns 7, I was like, okay, yeah, we can load it up onto your laptop. Are you going to nominate your neighbors for Darwin Awards if it goes to fast oxidation there? Nah. It wasn't actually that strong of a smell. I mean, you could smell it, right? My wife was worried about it. It's like, honey, I work on ATVs with my father-in-law. My son rides, like 5 of my nephews ride. My father-in-law rides. I was riding until the back injury. And so I've been around it. I know what a strong smell of gasoline is. But it was still out there. It was really weird. And so we had to go track it down real fast. And I was worried because I was like, is it gasoline or is it natural gas? Because we do have natural gas lines around the house. It's like, I don't know. I don't sniff gas and hang out in shops and stuff. It's like, one smells like rotten eggs. The other one smells like a gas station. Let's see. MCreator also has a free version of Minecraft Java for testing. Can't play online other than the LAN server. Dude, I'm fine with that. I don't want him to play online. Let's see here. So I think right here is actually where we're failing. Looking at this. So when calling localhost 101.99, we're getting our failure. Let me double check this. This all looks good. Where are we actually using this over? Oh, from self-client. Okay, yes. So we do have our MCP server client. Excuse me. Let's see. So in our wait agent execute, in our A enter. So right here is actually where it looks like it's getting the issue. So something with our MCP client is unhappy. My buddy has a methanol car that kills the whole neighborhood. Dang. Yeah, dude, the kids, they even get into, even on YouTube Kids, they get into stuff that I'm like, this is absolutely Redonkulous. No, stop watching this. Particularly, they like to watch like other kids, or God forbid, adults like playing with kids' toys and stuff. I'm like, absolutely not. No, no playing with toys. You're not watching that crap. That's just weird. Like, you have real toys you can go play with. This is the part that actually has me potentially the most concerned right here. Let me try something real quick. Let's do a quick overload on this. I'm going to set this to be a solid port, just 9999. And this way, when the container spawns, we'll be able to see it. And actually, I'm going to drop this part off right here. So actually, what we're going to do is we're going to do 8931. I'm going to hard code this, and I'm going to comment out the container portion right here real fast. And the reason for this is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the container in the background up here. So when this starts up, we actually should see it start a session if it's getting that far. So let's try running this again here. So it's not going to start the container. The container's basically already up. Okay, so we're getting a bad request over here. So let's go look at this trace real quick. Let's go exec into this Docker container. Let's do. Do I have my exec in here? I do. But I need to know what the browser name. What did I call the browser name? Playwright. So then let's go look at this next. Wait, there's no traces? Let's see something here. I don't think I have this adequately. Yep, I don't. Let me kill this real quick. Because this used to reflect how we were executing it, but we're not anymore. So for the volume, I need to take all this out. Except that it was too much taken out. Here we go. I need to take out this stuff and mount it like we do with the container. So this is going to be hack the bot, and then that's going to mount to /data. And in fact, now that I think about that, that has probably created some extra files in here we don't in our browser. Oh, it didn't actually. Okay. Okay, I'm fine with that. Let me try this one more time. All right, so run. For some reason, it's acting like it's having trouble actually getting over to the MCP server. So it should be yielding a session, but for some reason... Huh? It tried. How weird. So, okay, so we're actually starting to get somewhere. Because see this? It tried to actually connect over to it. Kill this. Let's try this one more time. Okay, so we have nothing here, right? When we run this, we see it actually trying to initialize the connection over to the MCP server. When I say Debian, I mean Ubuntu. Right. Actually, the version of Linux I've got loaded up on Agent Zero's laptop, that's my oldest son, is like some kind of like learning Linux. Let's see. Let's see, await browser agent cleanup. Oh, it's breaking the cleanup routine. But you know what? Actually, one thing we can do. So it wants this container here. That's what it wants. But what we can do is we can kind of trick it a little bit. What we'll do is we'll comment this out, but we're gonna trick it. We're gonna say 18 9 through, and then what this will do is we'll put a 1 in there. So it's going to start the container. It's going to think it's going well, but it's going to start it on the wrong port, and then it's going to use our one that we've actually got started up in the back end here. One thing I need to figure out is how to tell it to save those sessions to /data. Let me check something real quick here. Docker, let's do a Docker run with an interactive terminal. I'll go ahead and call it Playwright for now. And then what I want to do is we want to run this container. Then we're going to run attack H. So we can just get the help from the CLI. So there's our output directory, which we are passing. Oh, you know what? That's why. Our output dir is correct. This should be in, I think, /data. See if this works. What I want to see is I want to see if we're getting all that actually down there. Oh, I screwed that up. Actually, you know what I could do? I can just comment out that one line. Doesn't even matter. There we go. So it'll still start the container. It'll just keep it hidden in the background because it's not going to expose any ports. All right, there we go. So now it's running. It's trying to do stuff. We got a bad request over to the MCP server. Really? Is that so? Let me try something real quick here. So we're going to do a save trace. Let me try this one more time here. I think that save trace might have been screwing everything up, or at least passing that output directory argument to it. Yeah, look at that. Now it's going to say we got a session in here. So, oh, you know why? This is why. Let me come down. Let's exec into that container. This is a problem with Linux permissions. So if we look at the data directory, it's owned by root. See that? Yep, so what's happening is it's trying to write this stuff down here, and the MCP server is faulting because it doesn't have permissions to write to that directory. Well now, isn't that just special? So, simple solution. Hopefully a simple solution. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to run this guy, but we're going to actually connect his root into it. So before we were running as the node user, now we're the root user inside the container, right? What we're going to do is cd over here. We're going to chown that. Or at least we can chmod it, actually. What we can do is we can just chmod 777/data. Now if we cd to slash data, what do we have in here? Anything. Probably because nothing could write to it. So let's kill this. I'm going to go ahead and reset the output directory to slash data. And I'm going to kill it because I fat fingered the command. There we go. Now, if we exec back into this, look at slash data, it's still owned by root, but notice how we have read, write, execute permissions to everything in there. So now it actually should work. It needed permissions to do it. So either the options are, I go change something in the Docker volume and let it do that, or I just say, we're just going to shemot it. Because that's a volume that everything inside of every single one of the containers in here is going to start using that volume. So we're going to need it. All right, so after we get that going, so we're still having a problem with the yield generator, but I think we fixed the issue here. Actually, let's cd to data. And now we have session 1, so let's... What do we have in here? We got nothing. You get nothing. I think I do want to actually make a modification to this. I know, like, what are you doing here? I think I want to change this to browser. So the name of the specialty agent. And then probably what we'll have to do... Okay, actually, it looks like it'll have no problem with that. Because it's not going to... This is not the variable of word. Actually, dang it, I screwed that up. It's not here that we need to change the browser. It's actually in the bind mount here. So, here, let's zip back here. This needs to be slash browser. So let me exec into here. And now if we look at slash data, see how it's changed? It's because now inside of... Yeah, let's diagram this up a little. For anybody who's not super familiar with Docker. So what's happening here is we've got a volume inside Docker here. So think of it just like a standalone folder on the computer, right? And inside there, we've got basically like the root directory, right? And this is where data previously was. So slash data inside the container was previously here. Well, instead, what we did is we created a subdirectory under this called browser. And now this is where slash data is living, right? The problem is this directory previously didn't exist. And so even though it looks the same inside the container, on the host where the volume actually is being held, this is a new folder. And so when it gets created with root permissions. So we can do a tiny bit of modification to this, which is we'll cd to... Actually, we'll just shemot that sucker. Let's see. Shemot 777 slash data. And now if we look at it, see, now we've got the read, write, execute permissions to it. So if we run this again, now what should happen is we should see session 1 load to slash data, but really inside the volume, it's going to be slash browser slash data. So now, I don't know which one that was, actually. That's all right. What we're going to do is we're just going to RM, RF, everything in data. Did I have this backwards? I think I did. I did. This needs to be data browser. And then over here, this just needs to be straight slash data. I think I had it correct the first time, and I psyched myself out. Okay, so we still have all the right permissions on there. Exit out of that. Let's see if this works. If we get the generator exit, then we know that at least we're hitting that part right now. I like the A+X syntax better. I got so used to doing those what is it? Doing the octets in there. And so for anybody who's wondering kind of like what we're doing with that. So in Linux permissions, you've got 3 sets of permissions here. Usually you've got the user, and then you've got the group, and then you've got everyone. And each of those, excuse me, has its own set of octets in there. So we got a read, write, and execute set in here. So that's all in binary, right? So this is the 1-bit, that's the 2-bit, that's the 4-bit. So if you turn all of these on, that's 1 + 2 + 4. So if we want to have read, write, and execute permissions turned on, this becomes a 7 right here. So let's say we got that for everyone. If for whatever reason we decided that the user was only going to get execute and none of these, this right here would just become a 1. So, and same thing for group. Let's say group was just only had write permissions, or only had write permissions. No, read permissions in here. Then that would be a 4. So if we set up 777 where all of these are turned on for all 3 groups, it's 147 in this example here. And so what we're doing is we're basically providing all permissions to everyone, everywhere, all at once. When we do that, we're just turning it all on. It's not a best practice by any means, but for this, it's an isolated environment. It should be fine. So for documents, if you have 775, so if you don't turn on the execute permission in the directory, you can't list the directory contents in Linux. So for example, if I actually, so what? I'll show you real quick. So if I chmod that to 755, right? And I do that for /data in here. And then if I exit out of this, and then I come in as the node user, right? If I look at /data, right, I can see it. But if I try to look inside of data, I can't see it. Oh, I can see the one that I've got in here, right? Hang on. Let me cd to /data. I'm gonna make a directory called like test in here. So now if we see this, test is owned by root in here. So now maybe it's you can't maybe it's you can't exec into it, or you can't cd into it. I forget what the exact rule is for it. But now, as the node user, if I can look at it, see I've got test in here. Oh wait, yeah, 755, duh. 755 just turns off write permissions. I did that wrong. Hang on. I was talking about the exec permission here. So hold on. If I chmod that to like 766, there we go. So that is the owner has read, write, execute. The group has only read, write, and everyone else has read, write, but not the execute permission. So if you do that for data, and then you come in back as the node user, and you try to look at /data, you just get this weirdness right here, right? It's like you can't see any of the particulars of what's going on in there. Yeah. I actually had to remind myself on that, because I knew there was something about it. But we're gonna live dangerously. We'll just change that to 777. Okay, so now that we've got this up and going, this looks like it's going fine. We're putting everything over in our /browser. But now we got to figure out why the generator is not working. So unhandled error in task group 1 sub exception, which is for MCP adapters and sessions, clients in session, yield session. We're getting this. And where's this actually coming from? Let's follow it up here. So in the browser analysis workflow, Oh, really interesting. In the browser agent cleanup, we're getting the issue. Interesting. So what's going on with our cleanup here? So inside of cleanup, the first thing it does is it nukes the session, then it stops the container, and then it does initialize here. So for some reason in our asynchronous exit for the task group, which comes from browser cleanup, session A exit for some reason. Which I don't think we even need to worry about. I think legit, if we just came in here and set self.session to none, that would actually be sufficient. Because then it's going to be a non-referenced entity and the garbage collector should catch it. Self.session equals none. There you go. Actually, there's one way we can actually check to see if this was doing anything. We can go over to Langsmith and see if we have any new traces coming up here. We don't. This was the one we called a while ago. This isn't the current one. So if we were actually making any language model calls, it would do that. So all this is coming from our browser analysis workflow. So something is failing in here. See that? Something's jacked up right here. And what it's doing is it's hitting the cleanup. And so we're not seeing what's happening in here. So we need to have a catch statement in here. What's the actual syntax for that? Let's see. Python catch exception. I gotta remember what it is. Yeah, there we go. Actually, where's the one for catching just generic exceptions? I gotta remember. I think it's just catch, yeah. Accept exception as E, if I remember correctly. Yeah, exception as E. I think that's it. What we can do is print, let's see, exception in browser analysis workflow. We'll drop this in here, and then what we'll do is \n, and then we'll drop in whatever E is, right? Okay, that should work. Because something's happening up in this first try block. It's spazzing out on us. Let's go try this again. See what happens. Catching exceptions that do not inherit from base exception is not allowed. What? What? Why would you do this? So we got an async IO exception, canceled error. Let's see if I can just run it with the debugger, and we'll see what it catches. Python would never. I know, right? How dare you be smirched, Python? Oh, it just didn't even straight up catch the exception in here. And see, the thing that makes me think something is jacked up in here beforehand is because, like I said, let's let this update real quick. See, we're not seeing any new traces come down the pipe right here. So if it was actually making the language model calls, because we're using LangGraph and because of how the environment is set up, it would actually send a trace of what's happening. So something like this, for example, we'd see all these various calls happening in here, and we'd be able to trace it. For some reason, though, it's spazzing out at something inside this try loop here. Probably only await browser execute. The 1 millionth dependency of hell. I know, right? Oh, good old Python. Let's see here. So what could this be doing? Let's look at this call stack again. Okay, so here we go. We see initial results. Actually, I think this might be the issue right here. I think instead, let's do something a little bit different right here. So we have the initialize function, right? I think it's just looking like it's coming from a different spot. I think it's actually coming from a similar spot to it. One thing we can do is see how we see it trying to do something, right? Because every time we've executed it, we're getting a new session. And that makes sense because the script is crashing. We're not executing inside the same session. That's understandable. However, why we're not calling this self-initialize here whenever we init this persistent browser is kind of weird. So what we're going to do is we're going to get an instance of the persistent browser, and then we're going to initialize it ahead of time. And if that dies on us, then we know that's where the issue is. Let's see. So we already have our browser agent. So what we'll do is we're going to come right here. We're going to say browser agent dot initialize. Yeah, it is initialize, right? Oh, we gotta await it. That's the problem. Here. Oh, was that it? Is it because it's lowercase? Oh, yeah, I had it screwed up. There we go. So what we're doing is we're going to call the browser agent initialize right here. And then if it fails at this point, in fact, I'm going to put a blocking statement right there. We'll put a breakpoint in. If we hit the breakpoint, then we know it's not the initialization function that's causing it. Playwrights the 10th circle of hell confirmed. I know, right? Okay, so it is something in the initialization. This is what's fouling up everything right here. Because we never hit the breakpoint before it just crashed on us. All right, let's see. So in any IO streams memory. So during handling of the above exception, another exception occurred. So in browser analysis workflow, yep, there we go. So again, it's in the await load MCP server. For some reason. So it sends the request, waits for it. So for some reason, async IO exception canceled error. Canceled by a different, or canceled by the call scope. All right, let's see what we can find out with initialize right here. So we'll break on this and then we'll start stepping through. And unfortunately, I think that's probably about where we're going to start wrapping up there. After we kind of step through this debug, and we're going to see where it's crashing on us. Let's see. Really? I did hit debug, right? Okay. What if we break right here? Will this work? Thank you. Okay, so now we finally hit something. So what we're going to do is step over that. We're going to set the container name, or set the port. We're going to get the Docker container up and running. All right, so we hit the async IO for sleep for 5 seconds. 3, 4, 5. Good. And now we're going to hit the MCP server portion. So let's see what's going on with the MCP server. We define our browser and our transport. And then here's actually where I think everything is going foul. I'm sorry, not there. Here on the tools. Yeah, so for some reason, this is just absolutely not happy where we're getting back with this. Let's see. Is there a nice way to run Python debugger in a remote from a Windows box, currently using a full MS Visual Studio to target a headless ARM Linux? Dude, not that I'm aware of, actually. I think... I know there's a way to, you could expose the Python debugger like on the network layer, and then you can remotely attach to it. I just haven't had to do it because I've provisioned this machine to be a purpose-built dev box, so everything's all contained in it. So I haven't had to do that. I've thought about having to do it for one particular situation, and that is here, the LangGraph CLI that we've got. This guy actually is running everything right now, and we're not having to use it though. Why are you giving me this run context API? Okay, you're going away because I don't need you right now anyway. But for this one to debug this, we can actually tell it to set up a network level debugger or a network exposed debugger, and then we could connect over to that from PyCharm, so that way we could go through and we could debug it whenever it comes into errors with our code. It's so weird of why it is. Yeah, for some reason, it's actually calling an error with a enter. That should be the asynchronous entry point. There's some libraries, but they're a bit meh. So I managed to run an exec in a remote and get output back in the debug screen, but I could not get the breakpoints to work. Interesting. Using debug py. Yeah, man, I haven't had to really mess with it. I've been liking PyCharm. It's been, pretty efficient for this. Let's see. Well, since Claude made this, Claude can fix it. So, like I said, I don't typically like to use AI for this, but this was one of the ones where I made an exception to this. Let's see. Executing this code. The following error is returned. And then what we'll do is we'll grab a copy of the output. If I still have it. Yeah, here we go. Like I said, normally I don't like doing this, but there we go. It's returned. What is the potential source of the error? Let's see what good old Claudius thinks about this. So this would suggest the MCP client can't establish a proper connection to the browser container. It worked just fine in another system. Oh, well, they thank you for that, Claude. Your Docker container setup has some problems. It doesn't have any problems, I promise. I tinkered a bit with PyCharm, but the main reason for VS is that we have low-level compilers and debuggers on it through Visual GDB, pretty good linter and IntelliSense. That makes sense. Yeah, for what the kind of work you do, Hats, that actually makes complete sense. We did have an exception error. Added a timeout wrapper around load MCP tools. Let's see, modern Python usage. So used anysync io.run instead of the deprecated get event loop. Right? All right, so let's see what it says for the root cause analysis. So the NEIO would block and canceled error exceptions indicate that the container wasn't fully ready when MCP connection was attempted. False. The container is absolutely up. Network binding issues. The MCP server was binding to 127.0.0.1 inside the container, not accessible from the host. False. The MCP client timed out waiting for the servers. You know what? Actually, there's one way we can kind of troubleshoot this a wee bit, which is we can come up here and we can actually take out a lot of these issues here. We don't care about saving the session. We don't care about the output dir. We do care about caps vision, and we do care about port 8931. So we can do that. We're going to strip this down to the bare minimum right here. We're going to publish the port. We're going to give it a name. That's it. So we'll let everything else be defaults in here. And then we'll try this again. So actually, I do need to go change that exception in here. I knew I was close on it. Let's see. There we go. All right, so let's try running this one more time. The scheming robots lie. Hey, Stealth, it's only doing that because it doesn't understand that we have the Docker container running manually in the background, and we're not actually spawning the Docker container in here. Looks like we're getting the exact same error, though. Let's go see. Yeah, what's weird is actually now you notice that, oh, well, we're not saving the traces and sessions anyway, so that's why we're not seeing it here. Let me look at something real quick. Let's take out the output dir, make sure that's not messing anything up. Save session and save trace. All right, we'll let those just save to like their default location. Try this one more time. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, this actually was the correct way to do it. It was supposed to be capital E in here. But the reason why I think it's not catching it is because of the async operations and where the actual exception is occurring. But we're still getting the exact same error. So, unfortunately, this is where it's going to have to stay for now because I have got to call it a night. So, if anybody has any suggestions on who to raid out on Twitch, please feel free to shout them out. But let's see if anybody's over on InfoSec streams. The Black Hat Network Operations Center is on, but it's just blank with music right now. Because obviously it's black. So I'm surprised there's actually 5 people watching this. Like, it's an empty room, guys. I'm surprised. Oh. Gonna raid my pillow? Yeah, me too here in just a minute. Actually, I'm gonna go raid I'm reading Killing Floor, the first book in the Jack Reacher series, and I started reading that before bed. Funny enough, my sleep tracker says I get more REM sleep when I do that. It's wild. I'm getting like an extra 20 to 30 minutes of REM sleep whenever I read before bed. Let's see. Gripping's on. Let's see what he's doing. This is a perfect time to go raid him because he's doing something stupid. All right, thanks for stopping by. Unfortunately, that is where I've got to end it for tonight. We'll keep working on trying to fix this stupid thing. I'll probably work on it off stream, even though I usually try not to, just because I do want to get this up and running. I'm tired of the browser. I want to get back to actual HackBot code. Did what you read makes any difference? Not one bit, hats. It's still all jacked up. So I'm going to go fight with it. I'm going to get it up and running. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. Keep having a fantastic week. Tomorrow is hump day. So continue to crush it. The week is not over. Show no mercy. There is no mercy in this dojo. And I want y'all to remember one thing, which is I love ya. Peace.